approved of you. He didn't approve my first one. So for him to give me away, approving you, brought a level of safety that made me feel even more traumatized. And abandoned when you woke up, I woke up, just like she woke up. But at least she knew to go next door to find you. But I didn't know where the hell you went. So all those traumas, yet other stuff, it was like, I gotta get the hell up out of here. I gotta go. Because I'm 23 biologically, but I'm still 7, still 12. And yet, it wasn't just the fact of marriage now that I'm hearing, but also I'm getting the connection. My father approved you. That meant the world to me.
Hey there, I'm Ari, your petite but powerful Kingdom Teaching professor and entrepreneur. I bring the sass, the laughs, and the serious, let's get real and heal moments without any filters. Now meet my mom, Pastor Dee, the #1 dunamis woman leading our Healing for My Soul movement. As a Kingdom Teaching pastor and life coach, she is unapologetically real, raw, and radical, but she's our rock and the voice of wisdom that we all need. And then there's Allison, fierce yet tender, and the voice for many single mothers. She's the silent heartbeat of our family and will be the first to tell you, yeah, life with these two can be crazy, but I got their back and we're in this together. As a dynamic trio, we spearhead the Healing from My Soul movement, sharing the miraculous healing power of God through our journey, truths, and a little humor as we guide women to pursue healing as a lifestyle so they may experience freedom within their life and legacy.
Well, welcome to another episode of our Healing for My Soul podcast. Yes, it's getting better and better and gooder the more we dig deep into the healing processes of what I know and deem as our family, the Fuller family. You got us all right here, right now. Ain't nobody else to be added, is it? You sure? I'm positive. Okay, we don't want to find out after the fact. All right. So it's us here, mom, dad, daughters, But we're going to talk about, some dynamics of what took place, not only what took place, but the fact that divorce is real. And divorce is going to, I would say, create two things. Mm-hmm. Division and damages. It's inevitable. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that after the fact. I'm saying that because I understood that before the fact. And me being the one extricating myself, leaving the marriage, it was the most difficult, and you might not even know this. So I pray bring healing to you. The most difficult decision that I've ever had to make. Because I grew up without my father. And the last thing that I ever wanted to do was not to have you all in the home with your father. So even in my decision to leave, I wanted everything as it was in my mind to be as tranquil and peaceful as possible by leaving not just you all with your father, but leaving the home so I could heal. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I can heal. Not as a mother, not as a wife, but most of all as a woman, not knowing who I was at that time. And I firmly believe that you got to know who you are in order to be able to raise your children. I think I would have done you all more damage, all of you all more damage if I had stayed. But at the end of the day, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about what damages it have occurred in your heart, because I made the decision. I think we can handle it even more now, mm-hmm. how it has maybe divided you all of us, even though I did the best that I ever knew that I could to keep us united. And that's why I introduced it and said the Fuller family, because as long as we are on this earth and you all are here, regardless of divorce, we will always be the Fuller family concerning you all, mm-hmm. Because you need, rather in marriage or whatever, you still need mother and father. Yeah. And we were both there. So y'all ready to dig in? Mm-hmm. Don't just be looking at me like a deer in headlights.
I mean, I think starting off like, you always talk about how Allison was the miracle child, the firstborn. And so, Daddy, I think you mentioned to me a little bit about how the divorce really took an emotional effect on her, being the oldest. And I'm not really sure of that perspective. And I always hear my story and how I was like, so what? She'll find another man, blah, blah, blah. But I think you bringing and shedding light to me about how that affected her gave me some understanding as to relates to where the division really began, or where her voids, I guess, kind of began. So speak to that a little bit.
To my Allison?
Yeah.
Well, Allison being the first, and they're only like 19 months apart.
18 months.
Allison being the first boy, and see, Allison had the full attention of me and her mother. I mean, she was a miracle child. I mean, definitely a miracle child. Something I didn't even know before I married their mother, because I didn't know she couldn't have children, or she couldn't bear children to the full term. And the one thing that I wanted, because I didn't get married until I was like 34 years old.
You were old.
I was old. And she was 23, 34, 23.
Took advantage of me.
And I said, God, if we're going to get married, I've always wanted children. I've always wanted children. And to not know that she was not able until after we got married, but then she's, like I said, the miracle child, because she was conceived on our honeymoon. I knew the moment that she was conceived. I felt the moment she was conceived. And when we came back, I told her, I said, you're pregnant. She was like, no, I'm not pregnant. I can't do this. I said, no, you're pregnant. And it was confirmed by someone else that she was pregnant. And so we look at her as a miracle child. And when she was born, she had our full attention. She had mother, father, everything. It was all doted upon her. Then once again, here comes the second miracle. Okay, Ariel being born. And we thought for sure it was a boy. All up until the day that she was born. We said, it's a boy. And when she was born, she came, and I started crying. I said, I got another daughter. Another daughter. And the thing about that family when it was brought in, Allison being the first. I remember the time that we brought her home. She's sitting in the crib where she comes, her crib was in the same room as Allison. Allison comes running in. Mama, Daddy, the baby crying. Well, you need to come, the baby crying. We need to find out what's wrong. And everything, even from that point, as a little baby, 2 years old, 18 months old, she was protective of her. Protective of everything it is that she would get into, everything it is that she would, be and what she would do. That was our life. Even younger, as we were, going through what we were going through, and her father dying and so forth. Right after she was born, her father dying and she losing her father, and then us moving and settling into the perfect family mode, I would say. I would say I'm happy. Look, I got my family. I got my daughters. We got this nucleus right here. We're both believing God. We're both believing, for His healing, and not knowing. I'll speak to my trauma first. Not knowing how she was really feeling inside came as a shock. But I think, what hurt the most is that I saw very early how it affected Allison. And I would express, but Devana, do you see what it's doing to Allison? And she was like, but she'll grow out of it. And I couldn't see it because this is ours. This is who God gave us. And I'm looking in my daughter's eyes. She's 5, 6 years old. And I see the light going out of her eyes. So her trauma was real for her. And she expressed it in a way. I'm losing my mama. I'm losing my daddy. But am I going to lose my sister? She was more concerned about her losing her sister than her losing me and her mama. So that's where Allison was. She was like, I'm going to be left alone with nobody, not even my sister, with me in my life. So that's where her trauma was. Her trauma started early on. You, on the other hand, all you knew was us, and you knew all of us, but you were so young that you just knew everything gonna be like Christina right now. Happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
Knew everything was gonna be all right. I got mama, I got daddy. I don't see nothing. Now I got my sister. She there. She get on my nerves, but she's there. But that's the way you were when you were little. So it was a little bit different for you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Hey, you all, I know you've been enjoying these episodes. I know you've been enjoying this podcast. So what I need you to do, I need you to like, I need you to comment, and most of all, I need you to subscribe. That is going to keep you connected with us. That's going to keep me connected with you. That's going to keep us on the same Healing for My Soul movement. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. Well, enough of that. Let's get it going, and let's get back to this episode.
I mean, I think that, Allison, you have anything to speak upon that?
No, as you were talking, like I'm trying to think, and it's crazy because the memory just popped in my head. Yeah. And because my mother was more so, when you have daughters, the mother is the disciplinary compared to the father. And speaking on me always wanted to protect Ariel, I remember Ariel did something and mommy was getting ready to spank you. And I was protecting you because I was willing to take that spanking for you. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because now I'm thinking like, that's how Genesis is, where she's willing to take the spanking for Christina. And not only that, it's like, how, and I could see Christina was like Ariel, like, oh, whatever, I'm fine, it's gonna happen. And that's where, and I know Ariel, at one point you were like, Allison, you stop protecting me, leave me alone. I can't be, and I'm like,
I said that right before the podcast, right? Yeah. It was like that dinner that we had right before we even decided to do the first season of the podcast. And I was just like, you don't have to protect me. I don't know where this came from, and now it shed light. But it was almost like I was like, if I walk across the street, let me get hit by a car. What hell makes you think that you gotta follow me? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because I've always been so resilient, and that's why I was explaining to you, like, my personality and the way that I'm wired. You may take me as doing that as like rejection and say, oh, well, she doesn't want me to protect her. But really, the way I naturally am is like, get the fuck off my back, yo. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you doing? Like, I know if I'm jumping off this cliff, I'm jumping. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like, that kind of brought shed some light and attention, because I didn't mean it in a negative way. It was just more so, that's just how I felt. Like, stop wrapping your world around watching me and making sure I don't fall and making sure that I don't hit my knee, because it was like, that's gonna happen. And I was telling you at dinner, like, the more you wrap your world around me, the more you lose sight of your own self to heal, grow, and get what you need from a maternal standpoint, from a paternal standpoint, because you're wrapped up in my life. And my identity, unfortunately, some family will be flattered by that. Mm-hmm. But I can't let you make your life be consumed around my life, because that just isn't healthy. It's like I explained to you all, it's toxic. It may sound bad, but when you are so wrapped up in the life of someone else, of a family member, that's toxic relationships, and to some degree. You get what I'm saying?
But it's division is two different visions. Mm-hmm. The way I see life, the way you see life.
Yeah.
It's just two separate ways of seeing life. The way he see life, the way I see life, naturally, is two different ways of seeing life. You know what I'm saying? So your resilience have always been there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's a part of who you are, you know what I'm saying? As opposed to, she's a lot like him in certain ways, you're a lot like me in certain ways. We can flip it around all kind of ways. It doesn't make it one-sided.
Right.
But even in the divorce aspect, you still had that same resilience. you'll be okay.
Right.
You'll be okay.
Yeah.
Let mommy go.
Right.
You'll be okay. As opposed to you was suffering emotionally, fear, drawing closer to him out of fear, which is cool. That's your father. You know what I'm saying? But the reality of it is you still have that nature. You'll be okay. Let her do, you didn't say it this way, let her do what she got to do. Now, did we all hurt from that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were we all affected by that? Yeah. But in my resilience as well, ain't nothing gonna keep me here. It hurt me to leave, but it's gonna hurt me more to stay. Because I can't, it's toxic. I can't live my life for anyone else, and I doggone show can't live my life for marital religious rules that think that you have to, and that was just in me. Didn't understand it then. You know what I'm saying? Just like I am now. I mean, I'm more wiser. I have greater insight, and just like I told my therapist a couple of months ago, I can't stand marriage. Not that I can't stand marriage. I can't stand what people make it to be, where you got to be territorial. You got to submit to everything. You got to lose yourself.
Right.
Put it that way. Let me just sum it up. Lose yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not willing to lose myself. I didn't have the healing to understand it then, but it was something in me that was saying, I love you all with every fiber of my being, but I can't lose myself for this. Being damaged myself. Does that make sense? Yeah. Having my own daddy issues, having my own traumas, having my own that at that point in time, you're not able to talk about.
Yeah.
Just go to church and yes, Lord, and it's good. You know what I'm saying? But internally, I was a dead woman walking around.
And that makes sense, what she's saying. And the reason why it makes sense is because I started off, I was 34. She was 23. She was 23.
Took advantage of me emotionally. Just kidding. Go ahead.
No, a whole different world.
Yes.
At 34, I was ready
Yeah.
to settle down. I was ready for a family. I was ready to be married. I was ready for that,
White picket
fence and everything. Whereas I did not know how ready she was not. I mean, trust me, we talked about it before we got married. We talked about her going to get deliverance and healing and so forth, and me going through the same steps of, my past and getting all that toxic stuff out. But whereas I was ready, I didn't know how she was not ready.
And was not ready because I had been married before at a young age.
Right.
So we do things not because we're just not ready. Nobody never told us. But then, like I stated, I believe in one of the broadcasts in season 1, they present to you religiously this information. And in order to live right for whom you love and supposed to be living right in the rules of the regulations of it, you make these decisions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so you got trauma from your own childhood, trauma from, remember, 1923, not 1923 the year, 19 the first time,
right.
23, but yet we all pass on stuff. Yeah. It's like, the world still does it today to a great degree. You just go from one pair of shoes to the next. You bring in other folks into the stuff. Not just marriages, you bring your mommy in, you're bringing your daddy in, you're bringing their molester in, you bringing their enslaved mentality in. We just got some stuff going on in our household. So all I knew from an instinct, it wasn't even a knowledge, just an instinct. You got to break free.
Yeah.
It was one of the best decisions of my life because I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Yeah.
But we're also going through healing processes to deal with the division so we can all grow effectively. And this podcast right here, I've been waiting for 35 years.
Yeah.
35 years.
35 years.
It is crazy because I don't remember the decision that you necessarily made in your affect in making those decisions. But I do know that making that decision very early on at that young age did expose me to you as a man. Because like you said to me, when you got evicted out of the house when we were 12 years old because of your drug addiction, that wasn't the first time that I felt abandonment. And you had said to me, you said, do you remember when, we were living in that big house and I would leave in the middle of the night, and you all would go to next door neighbor. And it wasn't until 12, like that was at 4 or 5 years old. And so, how old was we, like 4 or 5?
You were 6 or 7.
6 or 7. Yeah. But I remember going in the garage and seeing your car gone, you know, and you being gone. And it didn't dawn on me now, like, what parent leaves a 6-year-old in the bed by themselves? You know what I'm saying? But to even wake up and to yearn for the Father, or to know where the Father was, we really could have just been sleeping, slumber, not even waking up. But that to me was, it felt like it was a damage, which it did cause some damage of a level of abandonment. But it also, in a way, helps me understand how to like seek after for the love of a father. And being able to do that, and, you know, Allison, I don't know how we woke up and go to next door neighbor's house, and you were still, you don't remember, but he would pick us up, you know, from, do you remember? I think you remember because you told me.
Yeah, I remember.
But to me, I'm just saying, I always saw you as a protector, a provider, a safety net, a place of provision. And no matter what decision you necessarily made, it was like, I still want my father. You know, I still want to be and have the love of a father. And I think that it caused pain, but at the same time, it was like, that place is what I always go and seek after when I'm looking for how to continue to build my love for the Heavenly Father.
You were so different than her.
They are, still are.
Still so different than her. Whereas she naturally knew her mother and father. She naturally knew her mother and father. And she would come to her father. She'd complain about her mother. And I'd tell her, no, your mother loves you. Your mother loves you more than life itself. Just because she doesn't show it the way you want it doesn't mean she don't care, that she doesn't love you. So different. And she probably would do the same thing with her mama. Tell her mama about me. You, on the other hand, you always had that. I remember times it is that you all would be, and I just come in late and you're in bed, and you say, hi, Daddy, I just laid out and hug you in bed. Just there. Now, me leaving in the middle of the night, because you all were, this was after we separated.
Yeah, the divorce.
No, it wasn't the divorce.
Oh, the separation.
After we separated. And you know, if I didn't feel you were safe, I wouldn't have left. But maybe I should have never left, because what happened, enemy opened up a door to have you come look for me, and I wasn't there.
So I know you are listening to this episode on YouTube, but there are so many podcasters that are listening on Apple and Spotify. And so what I want you to do is make sure you go over there and write a really good review. I want to hear, what are you getting out of these episodes? We read them, we see them, we comment. So make sure you go over to Apple and Spotify and leave a review for us so that we can be able to hear your heart and where you are. Now, let's get back to the episode.
But what she's saying, and I have to, first of all, speak my truth, because what she's saying is bringing some things up in me where I'm connecting some dots. Mm-hmm. Because where we think there is division, there really isn't. Right. It's just pain. Mm-hmm. It's just pain. Because what you're saying, remember, I was 23. Mm-hmm. My father was not in the home, and I left and felt abandoned. So what she experienced, I experienced too, being your wife.
Right.
Matter of fact, you was conceived after he came home, and I didn't even know the hell he was gone. But you wake up and he's gone. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Abandonment. So just like, remember in the last episode you was talking about when you was with a friend and it brought up all your abandonment issues. Just as a wife, not as a daughter, but as a wife, you want to feel protected. So even waking up or in the middle of the night, I wake up and he gone. Nobody know where you are. As a young woman who already got abandonment issues, made me feel abandoned, did not know how to handle that, because one of the things, not only just you are a protector, but my father, he approved of you. He didn't approve my first one. So for him to give me away, approving you, brought a level of safety that made me feel even more traumatized. And abandoned when you woke up, I woke up, just like she woke up. But at least she knew to go next door to find you. But I didn't know where the hell you went. So all those traumas, yet other stuff, it was like, I got to get the hell up out of here. I got to go. Because I'm 23 biologically, but I'm still 7, still 12. And yet, it wasn't just the fact of marriage now that I'm hearing, but also I'm getting the connection. My father approved you. That meant the world to me. For him who I felt abandoned by, trusted you. And then it did not go that way, no matter what of a argument or any other issues that anybody gonna have. That root of abandonment is deep. Mm-hmm. That root of abandonment is real. Mm-hmm. And you didn't know.
I didn't know.
None of us know.
But I should have known. Mm-hmm. Now, and one thing I do know for sure, David did approve of me. Mm-hmm. That man was your father, mm-hmm. and he was happy mm-hmm. when we met. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to say I'm sorry. I thought you knew my life at that time. See, I was in IT technology, and the phone or the beeper could ring in the middle of the night, and I've got to go. And I thought it was okay, and I'm sorry. I did not know that was not okay. I wish I had known. Because if I had known, I probably would have done something different. Mm-hmm. And yes, it took me away a lot. But it was not being away in the way that most people would think. I wasn't out fooling around. I wasn't out drinking. I wasn't out hanging out. Now with you, it was different. I was out. I wanted to go out. I wanted to have I want to have.
Say, let's tell the truth up in here.
Okay, and you were asleep. You were okay, and come on and say, let's go out. And I went. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for you to wake up. You were always asleep, fast asleep, and you were safe. And if something did happen, I know that you knew where to go.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that happened.
And
I was busy getting sleep. Right? I don't remember that. One thing I'm going to do is sleep.
That's so funny because I always meet people now in dating who are in technology. I'm like, why do I keep meeting people in technology? That makes sense. You just said that. But that's interesting because when we talk about the damage of divorce, I think that as we got older, the damages and the division that we necessarily experienced was, trying to narrate you all stories. And I think that caused a little bit of damages too, because there was some missing gaps or missing mm-hmm. truths in you all stories that, children try to piece together along the way. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people said in the comments, earlier, where it was like, why are y'all telling them that much? Children shouldn't know that much about a relationship or a family dynamic, right? Like, why are you all getting them involved in your personal matters? And that was interesting to see because it made me wonder as a daughter, like, do parents typically expose their children to the personal dynamics of a man or woman? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well,
you have a question.
Okay.
So what actually made you, Pastor Dee, leave the marriage? Was it due to finding out about the drug addiction? Was it?
Oh, no. The actual drug addiction took place after I left. You know what I'm saying? I was gone. You know what I'm saying? But I was aware. However, why I left is just what I had stated. My own emotional damages, marriage dynamics, trap traumas, issues, good and bad, was too much for me emotionally. You know what I'm saying? Marriage is a responsibility. It's not the marriage, it's the two people. you know, and you don't know how to handle those dynamics. Nobody never tell you, nobody never teach you, but at the end of the day, I just knew that it was too much at that point, you know, for me emotionally. And I'm a strong woman, and I think I get misunderstood because I do have a great strength, but I think the greatest strength of a woman is also her greatest sensitivity. And the sensitivity part get overlooked. Just like he said, I didn't know. I still get that today. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm such a go-getter, such a doer, 2 children, 18 months apart. You know what I'm saying? That's like twins, you know, taking care of the kids, on point, household, managing the finances, doing everything. I'm great at it. You know what I'm saying? But what's happening inside of me was overlooked.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, you were great back then, but still didn't know. Mm-mm. Nor did you know. And you talk about the concept of being married. The thing it is, and I tell them, even when they were younger, I don't blame your mother. Mm-hmm. I don't look at her and I don't dislike her or hate her in any way what she did, because believe me, it was told to us that she would make those decisions and no one would understand.
And and when I make a decision, can't nobody stop me.
And I understood. But the thing was, I did not blame her because, see, my trust was not in her. My trust, I loved her. Mm-hmm. I loved her dearly. Yeah, you talk to my aunt who only knew what it was. She would say, you loved her. I loved her dearly. But my trust in the marriage and the family was not based on my trust. My trust was based in God. Mm-hmm. So I did not blame her for any of the divorce issues or anything. I did not dislike her. I did not put any fault in her. And I just told them, you can't look at her or look at me and say, you know, you all caused the divorce or anything, because it was not her.
Oh, no. Yeah. And I wasn't bitter. I wasn't resentful. I wasn't mad. I think people think divorce, you got to have all these ill wills. You know what I'm saying? Hell, remember after I left, we took him to Disney World. You know, together. He always loved Disney World. You know, I was like, hell, I'll go. You know what I'm saying? Still took our grandchild on a cruise. What? 20-something years later. When I say we're family, we're family. You know what I mean? And I think so many people can be literally married and still don't deem as family. They're still out there doing whatever. There's so much division. So where we think is division, it really, if you talk about it, mm-hmm. and if you really express it, which is why we're doing this, amongst other things that you just said, people who bring their kids into that. You all need it's not you're bringing us into your life. Right. You're a part of our lives. Right. You know, right. And we're not pitting you all against one another. Like he said, I ain't mad with him. He's not mad with me. We're not pitting you all against. Division is what the enemy wants to bring to keep us apart. Mm-hmm. That's what division is. It wants to keep you apart when there is unity. You got to find that unity. You got to work at that unity. You know what I'm saying? And so why not talk about it? Not at 5, 6, or 7. You all are growing. You all are developing. You enter into your own relationships. You all had your own dynamics going on. Where did you come from? And who did you come through? I believe in that all the time.
Yeah. And it's funny because seeing that, like hearing that, but seeing that dynamic, even with Genesis' father, because he's 42 and I'm 35, 36. So it's still many
repeats
years.
Itself.
And it's just crazy because like even now, you know, even with him being in a new relationship, his girl, she don't understand me and him. And also in hearing you say 23 and, you know, 34.
And 50.
And 34, it's that age dynamic of maturity. Because I'm pretty sure if you never stepped away to mature and never understand, like both of you guys want to mature. And I'm saying this to say, like, even with me and, you know, the first baby daddy, me and him are mature enough where we can sit here and laugh. We can sit here and joke with each other. We can sit here and raise Genesis together. And she gets to see her mother and father dynamic. We don't have to be kissing and lovey-dovey or nothing like that, but she gets to see. And even, you know, with And I joke around because I joke around with him because he, you know, of course, is with his new girlfriend, but they just had a baby. And I was like, I said, oh, we just had babies together. And I said, we can.
But I believe your mindset.
Yeah.
Your mindset, in lieu of your own healing that's needed, I think your mindset is that way because that's what you saw.
Right. Yeah.
That's what you don't have to. I mean, outside of this healing for my soul podcast or whatever we do, one thing I want folks to understand, you might not be together, but you ain't got to act like you some damn enemies.
Yeah.
And the children are going to be impacted no matter what. You can't change that. Some of them are more damaged because they stay together.
Right.
I don't even know what y'all would be like if we stayed together, Lord Jesus.
Don't know.
Don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Don't know, but I want to address something Ariel brought up, and even, you know, Allison, you talking about bringing parents, living your life or whatever. And like a lot of times, I told you before, because when she was 12, 13, I said, why don't you sit down and talk to her about womanly issues, things it is that you went through in your teenage years. He's like, she's not ready for that. And I'm like, but she needs to know. And I can't do it. And maybe it wasn't time for it to be done. And even with Ariel, you know, talk to her, you know, but now that I look at it, I never really talked to them about the crap I went through, you know, which I really didn't go through a lot of stuff. And then you talk about the division and the trauma on the family. It's like I said, I loved your mother dearly. As far as I was concerned, and this is spiritual godly marriage before God is ordained. And I believe that to be true, but the marriage before God being ordained does not necessarily mean it's the marriage that we want.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I believe marriage is of God, and I believe that He has caused us to be that, which does not take going to an altar and having a wedding dress and a ring to constitute that. But what I do believe is the fact that we as a people were traumatized, which has impacted negatively our relationships. And if it impacted your relationships, your relationship with your mama, my relationship with my daddy, your relationship with your daddy, my relationship, I can go on and on. Right. But then we come together and we bring all this trap trauma and all these dynamics from our household that we, particularly as a people, don't never deal with.
Right.
And then you're trying to have this wonderful marriage and have sexual intercourse. You're going to get pregnant, fine. But at the end of the day, like you said, you didn't know I couldn't bear any. They was miracles, so it was still God ordained. Right. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that the marriage was ordained. You all were ordained. Yeah. Right. You know, and that's the key right there. So as we all continue to progress forward, you know what I'm saying? It's so much that we could talk about. And as long as we here on this earth, I want y'all to know. I want you all to be able to understand who you are, because there's no soil, no seed that is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I mean, we thank you guys for watching and tuning in to this episode. We pray that this is continuing to bring more enlightenment to your own self. But most importantly, don't just watch, you know, really ask yourself, how can I implement this, what I'm learning within my life, within my relationships, being transparent, open, honest with my legacy, and doing some things to develop and evolve yourself as a woman on your healing journey. So we thank you all, and we can't wait to see you on the next one.